Golden State Media Concepts Baseball Podcast. We cover everything Major League, from spring training to the World Series. We've got your favorite club covered, from New York to Boston to LA. This is the Golden State Media Concepts Baseball Podcast.
What is up? Welcome into the GSMC Baseball Podcast. I'm your host, Tom Dougherty. It is a Friday as we enter the final weekend of April, the final weekend of the first month of this 2018 Major League Baseball season. Of course, this podcast is brought to you by the GSMC Podcast Network. All right, lots of stuff to bring you today on a Friday. The Yankees continue to roll. There are some beasts out east, some burgeoning beasts out east, some guys that, well, I like that word, just kind of the teams that you just didn't think were going to come out. I've talked a lot about them, the Phillies and the Braves. They weren't too hot last year. We'll just say that. Now they're coming out and putting those other teams down in the basement. I mean, the Mets are actually still competing a little bit. Mets do sit on top of the division with the Phillies right behind them. And then Washington is actually underneath Atlanta as well. Atlanta 4 games over 500. Maybe it's just a product of them playing the Marlins a few times. It's a little helpful having a team like the Marlins in your division. But yeah, so continuing. I mean, as we get on with these scores, and we're going to talk about a little bit of a recap from the last 2 days. It was Wednesday and Thursday. Thursday, remember, is a short slate day. Not everybody playing. We did have a doubleheader though yesterday, I believe, and we'll be going over some scores and some highlights from that game or those games on Wednesday and Thursday. Then in the middle segments, we're going to talk about our beasts in the East. Like I said, those Phillies and Braves teams. Also, the Yankees are playing really well. They have a big series coming up this weekend out west, as we're going to switch. We're going to go coast to coast in today's show, coast to coast, and then obviously I'm going to do in the last segment my preview for the weekend. In the third segment, we're going to talk about some updates for you throughout the weekend. We have a couple series going on actually out west. Giants Dodgers are going to be playing a 4-gamer over the weekend, as they have 2 games tomorrow, a doubleheader tomorrow, making up a game that was rained out earlier in the month. All right. So, starting on Wednesday, might do this for this segment and might carry over to the next segment. We'll see how quickly I get through these games. Starting on Wednesday, we did have a full slate of games. Nationals-Giants did not turn out well for the Giants as they went for the sweep. Max Scherzer took care of them. Nationals bats finally came alive. They win that game 15-2 out at AT&T Park. It was Matt Adams' show as he continues to own Jeff Samardzija, who did not have a very good outing as he took the loss there. In Houston, Justin Verlander got the Angels back after they took 2 from the Astros. As the Astros get back on track there, Verlander pitching pretty well as the Astros got the win there 5-2. Verlander went 7 innings, allowed 4 hits, 2 runs on 4 hits, struck out 9, did give up a home run to Albert Pujols. That was right before he got taken out in the 5th inning. Albert Pujols, we'll probably do a show on him eventually, or a whole segment on him and his career, as he's known as the machine. But Albert Pujols is creeping along to that 3,000th hit for him, as he is even closer and getting closer and closer. I think he's definitely single digits away. Let's see where he's at right now, as he sits, right on the doorstep of a historic milestone. As he, I think he's at 2,994. So he's 6 hits away from that. Good for Albert, as he will be there probably by next week, and we'll have a little bit of it. Maybe he'll do it this weekend against the Yankees. We'll see how that goes for the Angels this weekend. We'll talk about that series in the next few segments. All right, next game up, Seattle and The White Sox were playing out in Chicago on a Wednesday. That one was won by Seattle 4-3. As we go through these games, I mean, my stats loading up here and everything. I want to give you the pitching lines. As we had Felix Hernandez got his third win on the year, so he's kind of turning his season a little bit of around, trying to get his ERA down. Did go 6 innings, allowed 3 runs on 7 hits, 2 walks, 6 strikeouts to give up a home run to Juan Moncada, that star for the White Sox, the guy that the Red Sox gave over to Chicago for Chris Sale. So, like that, Yohan Moncada for the White Sox hit going deep again. That's his 5th of the season. In San Diego, Colorado, or actually make that in Colorado, the Padres and Rockies, another matchup since they had that little brawl out there. They finished off, or they can. Some of these series are keep going. Some of these series are finishing off. So it depends if they play tomorrow. Or on Thursday. Tyson Ross didn't last very long. John Gray went 6 innings, allowed no runs on 3 hits, did strike out 11, walked 1. So a nice outing for him as he got the win there. In Denver, high-scoring game in Game 1 of the doubleheader for Pirates and Detroit and Pittsburgh, as they played 2 games on Wednesday. Tigers and Pirates, as they made up. As remember, this was the series that was actually the opening series of the year, as the Pirates and that was one of the games. Another high-scoring affair for those 2 teams, as they. Taking a lot of home runs in this game. Holy moly. Leonis Martin hit a homer, McCann hit a homer, Castellanos hit a homer, and Candelario hit a homer. And for the Tigers, and then for the Pittsburgh Pirates, Moran hit a homer and Francisco Cervelli hit a homer. That was both off Jordan Zimmerman, as he did not pitch well at all in this game. Only lasted 3 innings, allowed 3 earned runs, 6 runs total, 3 earned on 6 hits, 4 strikeouts to go with the 2 home runs and a walk. Jameson Taillon, not so much for him. You see his ERA ballooning up pretty quickly after his great start to the season. Only went 3 2/3 innings, allowed 7 runs on 10 hits. Only struck out 3, did up 2 home runs in that game. As the pitching did not really show up in that one. Then in the nightcap of that one, it was all Pirates. They get that one 8-3. A little better pitching performance for Pittsburgh, and their bats stay hot, as it was Ozuna who knocked one out for the Pittsburgh Pirates, as Chad Kuhl did go 6 innings, allowed 3 runs on 6 hits, struck out 8, walked 1, did give up a home run to that game. Another one to Leonis Martin, who actually, if you go watch the highlights of the first game, had talk about a tale of 2 swings for Leonis Martin, as against Jameson Taillon in Game 1. He fouled one right off of the place you don't want to hit. It fouled it, hit the ground, and went right up in the old family jewels. Not really the best place to go. And then a couple pitches later, if not the next pitch, he deposited one out in the shrubbery in center field, an absolute missile off the bat of Martin. And then he goes deep again in that second game. So interesting how that kind of worked out. That was all over the highlight reels and in social media on Wednesday. Out in New York, the Twins continue to lose to the Yankees, as they just have a trouble out in the Bronx. The Yankees beating Minnesota by a final of 7-4. Didi Gregorius, another home run, as he has 9 now on the season, as he's catching up, trying to keep pace with Mike Trout for the league lead. Another home run, his 9th of the year off Lance Lynn. Sonny Gray only lasted 4 2/3 innings to give up 3 runs on 6 hits, walked 5. That's what did him in. Struck out 4, did give up a home run to Miguel Sano in that first inning. But yeah, Sonny Gray got his pitch count pretty high up there, as he was already at 104 pitches after 4 2/3 innings. The walks did him in there, as he's still looking to get on track for the Yankees. But they got the win there in the Bronx. In Atlanta, Cincinnati drops this one to the Braves. It was the start of a new beginning, as they brought up their the young prospect. The Braves did as Acuna Jr. for the Braves, playing out in left field. hit his first home run yesterday on Thursday. Ronald Acuna Jr. Made his debut, got his first major league hit, 1 for 5 in that game against the Reds. I believe that was on Wednesday. Yeah, it was his first game on Wednesday. Got his first hit. It was a single up the middle. And, the Braves got another win. That was their 13th win of the year. As the winner was Weasler. Went 5 innings, allowed 4 runs on 9 hits, didn't strike out an inning, gave up a home run, walked 3. So kind of a interesting performance. I saw Winkler got the win, though. Whistler started the game. Winkler got the win later in the game for the Braves. All right, continuing on. Phillies get another win. They actually take the final game in that series from the Diamondbacks, who took the first 2. Diamondbacks still rolling along there in the NL West as they look to extend their lead. Couldn't quite do it in this one. Giants and Dodgers still scuffling there in the middle of that division, along with the Rockies too. But the Phillies take care of the Diamondbacks, getting the win there. Zach Greinke took the loss. Jake Arrieta, a win for him, his 3rd of the year. He's 3-0 with the 1.82 ERA, looking mighty good for the Phillies. As maybe the Cubs looking over like, what the heck did we do not signing this guy? They're saddled with Yu Darvish and Jose Quintana. Yeah, interesting. Having fun with that. So Arrieta went 7 innings, allowed only 1 earned run, but 3 total on 4 hits. Walked 2, struck out 2. So not a big strikeout night for Arrieta, but he get the ball and play a lot. Diamondbacks, Jack Greinke not so much, as he went 6 innings, allowed 5 runs on 9 hits. Did strike out 9. Walked 1, give up a homer in that game to Aaron Altair, his 3rd of the year. Continuing on Wednesday, Tampa Bay and the Baltimore Orioles played out at Camden Yards. Kind of the 2 cellar dwellers out there in the AL East. Definitely not the beasts in the East, but it was a win for the Rays as the bats came out, and that one got scoring 8 runs off of the pitching. It was Alex Cobb against his former team. Did not fare too well. Only went 4 2/3 innings, allowed 5 runs on 10 hits, 1 walk, and none of the other stuff. No strikeouts. Didn't give up a homer, but didn't really need to, as he was touched up for 10 hits in that game. All right, continuing on. Boston, Red Sox and Blue Jays out there in north of the border in Toronto. Red Sox get the win there. Eduardo Rodriguez pitched pretty well, went 6 2/3 innings, allowed 3 runs on 6 hits, 1 walk, 3 strikeouts, 1 homer given up. That was the young Grievous Solarte, who has been a nice addition for the Blue Jays there. Got some good power numbers. He good glove in the outfield too. He's already at 6 home runs in the year. Aron Sanchez went 6 innings, only allowed 2 runs on 3 hits, 2 walks, 8 strikeouts, gave up a home run as well. That was to Mookie Betts, his 8th of the year in the first inning. But yeah, no, just Mookie Betts actually hit 2 home runs in that game. That was his 7th and 8th in that game. So Mookie's still staying hot out there for the Red Sox, getting them another win. Close game though, 4-3 win for the Red Sox on Wednesday. In Cleveland, the Cubs and the Indians, a rematch of the 2016 World Series, where the Cubs came back from a 3-1 deficit to win that one. Cleveland still reeling, as they still have had. There's been reports saying that. I mean, they still have pitchers who still are pissed off about losing that series, but the Indians got the win here. Trevor Bauer pitched very well, went 6 2/3 innings. Remember the 2/3. When I say 2/3, that means they got 2 outs. He pitched 6 complete innings, got 2 outs in the 7th inning, and then was taken out in the middle of that inning. So just let you guys know that. 6 2/3 innings. Well, only 1 run on 4 hits, struck out 8, blocked 3. Lester, not so much. I mean, not too bad, not too great. Went 7 innings, allowed 3 runs on 4 hits only, 2 walks, and 4 strikeouts, except 4 of those hits did get over the fence. 3 home runs allowed by John Lester. Brandon Guyer, Francisco Lindor, and Edwin Encarnacion all took him deep in Cleveland, as that was all the runs they needed. It was the 3 home runs that did him in. All 2 solo shots. or three. There was 3 solo shots, and everybody had a kind of the same. Yeah, all the different RBIs. Jason Kipnis had a sacrifice bunt. That was about it. That knocked in the 4th run for the Indians. I just wanted to see, like, where did that 4th run come from? All right. On Wednesday in L.A., the Dodgers drop the final game of that series as the Marlins take 2 out of 3 from the Dodgers, who are kind of reeling right now. Kershaw, his 4th loss of the season. Clayton Kershaw just cannot find it. His ERA is sitting below 3. I'll have to talk about this a little bit later, but I don't think Kershaw, did he have 4 losses last season? What was his record? His record last year? I don't think he had 4 losses last season. But he got touched up a little bit in this game. Give up a big 3-run homer in the first inning. Make that the 5th inning to Miguel Rojas, a 3-run homer down the line with 2 on and 2 out. So that kind of was a backbreaker right there for Kershaw, who only went 5 innings, allowing those 3 runs on that homer. 5 hits, 7 strikeouts, 6 walks. I think that was a career high in walks for Clayton Kershaw, as the Dodgers were not able to get by the Marlins, the lowly Marlins, getting 2 wins out there in L.A. as the Dodgers kind of limping into that big series this weekend in San Francisco. And the Giants are coming off 2 series wins. Even though they got mollywopped on Wednesday, they did take 2 out of 3 from the Nationals, and they took 2 out of 3 from the Angels over the weekend. So the Giants looking all right coming into that series against the Dodgers. All right. Last 2 games here on a Wednesday. As we continue, I'm going to finish up this segment. Matt Joyce and the A's, we'll make that Judd Lowry and the A's, went into Texas. Did not get this one, though. They lose 4-2 behind a nice pitching performance from Doug Fister, even though, he didn't get qualified for the win because they had a high pitch count. Only allowed 2 runs on 4 hits, but only lasted 4 2/3 innings. Did give up a homer, struck out 3, walked 3. Give up a homer to Chris Davis. The bullpen ended up getting the win. The former A, Jesse Chavez, came in and got the win for the A's. And then the final game, the Cardinals beat up on the Mets 9-1 in St. Louis. Only allowed 1 run in that game. The Cardinals nice pitching performance there by the Cardinals staff, as it was a big game there. That series is always big for the Cardinals and the Mets. That series, that's kind of a rivalry that we don't talk about that much. But Cardinals and Mets went out, and I think they finished that series yesterday. So they had 1 more, but the Cardinals beat up on the Mets there in that final game. Michael Wacha got the win there for the Redbirds. All right, we'll talk about Thursday's games really quick. As we went kind of long in this first segment, but it's all right. We'll come back really quick in just a moment.
This is your ultimate stop for everything sports. The Golden State Media Concepts Sports Podcast. Should I say more? From the NFL, MLB, the NBA to MMA, it's all in here. The Golden State Media Concepts Sports Podcast. Listen now.
All right, welcome back. Segment number 2 for this GSMC Baseball Podcast. We're going to go over Thursday's games really quick. It was a short slate on a Thursday. Braves beat the Reds 7-4 as they extend their record to 14-10. Ronald Acuna Jr. hit his first home run, absolute bomb in the second deck. If you are a you like to watch those young prospects, Acuna Jr.'s first home run of his career. And then, the Braves getting some power from their second baseman. Who's this? Albies. Yeah, Ozzy Albies has 8 home runs in the year. He's hitting a lot of homers. As we're going to talk about this Braves team when we come at the end, as we continue on this segment after I finish off these scores. But yeah, this is a good sign as the Braves continue to roll on at the beginning of this year. The Reds now fall to 5-20. I believe they are the first team. Yeah, first team in the league to record 20 wins, as they've already dismissed their manager, Brian Price. So tough there. All right, Pirates beat the Tigers 1-0. It was a good pitching performance there by Ivan Nova. Didn't get the win, though, because nobody scored any runs until the end of the game. Ivan Nova went 8 innings, allowed no runs on 6 hits, 5 strikeouts, no walks. Very nicely done there. But the Pittsburgh Pirates did walk off that game in the bottom of the ninth on a Corey Dickerson home run into the short porch there over the tall wall in right field at PNC Park. Diamondbacks came back. Actually, to win that series, they had a game on Wednesday, so they took 2 out of 3 from the Phillies in Philadelphia, winning that one 8-2. Twins could not beat the Yankees. Still couldn't beat the Yankees. Dylan Betances came in and made a nice play, made a nice effort to keep the game where it was. It was 3-1 going to the bottom of the ninth. Minnesota looking like they could have got a win, but it was a walk-off homer for Gary Sanchez, a big down the line, hooked it around the foul pole, a 3-run shot in the bottom of the ninth to win that one for the Yankees as they can continue to beat up on Minnesota, a 4-game sweep of the Twins. All right, another walk-off in St. Louis. Mets lose to the Cardinals in 13. I believe it was Dexter Fowler who got the walked-off knock against the Mets. Yes, Dexter Fowler, line drive base hit to knock in a run in the bottom of the 13th inning after the Mets tied it up in the 9th, I believe, with 2 outs. So, or bottom of the 10th, make that. Jose Martinez with 2 outs in the bottom of the 10th with the Mets trailing with the Mets leading after they took the lead in the top of the 10th. Cardinals needed a run in the bottom to keep it going, and they got it from Jose Martinez, a double to knock in that run and tie it, and then Fowler won it in the 13th. All right, Mariners and Indians. Indians could not contain the Mariners in this one. They drop it 5-4 as they started the weekend series. Indians coming off that series with the Cubs, they come home to host the Mariners, and the Mariners beat them up as Yonder Alonso hit a home run for the Indians, but it was the Mariners and Gene Segura who beat them up. Cano, Cruz, and Seager also had nice games as well. Now, Corey Seager went 3 for 4 in that game. Kyle Seager. Kyle Seager went 3 for 4 in that game, and they got a nice pitching performance from James Paxton. He went 6 innings, allowed 2 runs on 5 hits, 3 walks, 10 strikeouts. Did give up that home run to Alonso, though. Got the win. Rays beat the Orioles 9-5. In Baltimore, Red Sox beat the Blue Jays as they finish up that series in Toronto. Chris Sale started today against Marco Estrada. Sale went 6 innings, allowed 3 runs on 4 hits, walked 2, struck out 2. Did give up a couple home runs. Travis and Justin Smoke both hit a homer off of Sale, but it didn't matter as he got the win in that one. Cubs beat the Brewers 1-0. Kyle Hendricks, a nice start for him as he goes 7 innings, allowed no runs on 4 hits, 5 strikeouts, no walks. Beautiful start and outing for Kyle Hendricks as he stymied the Brewers, and the Cubs shut them out 1-0. White Sox beat the Royals as the Royals now they're both in battle of the worst teams there in the AL Central, White Sox and Royals. But the Royals win that one, or drop that one 6-3 at home. Lucas Giolito pitching for the Angels. Yal Mokonda hit another homer, his 6th of the year. But yeah, no. If you're the White Sox, keep on trucking with those young players. I mean, Lucas Giolito pitched pretty well. Went 5 2/3 innings, only allowed 2 runs on 5 hits, walked 2, struck out 2, did give up a home run to Jorge Soler. So that'll finish it up for the Thursday games. All right, as we continue on here and the second segment of this GSMC Baseball Podcast, I'm going to go through and talk about the Braves. Braves playing well. I think they wanted to. There's some rules in Major League Baseball regarding young players and and the whole service time. So I think even though the Braves may have wanted to bring up Ronald Acuna Jr. earlier, they wanted to keep. If you keep him in, it's like the Cubs did the same kind of thing with Chris Bryant, where they didn't bring him up immediately, even though he was ready. You keep him in AAA for a couple of weeks, and then you bring him up because you get another year of team control. Is how it works. So if you keep him down for a couple weeks, and his MLB, he won't have a full year of MLB service. You'll get a whole other year of team control before you have to go into arbitration. So it's just kind of how it works. So yeah, the Cubs did the same thing with Acuna Jr. I mean, with as the Braves did with Acuna Jr. With they did it with Chris Bryant a couple of years back. So I'm pretty sure that's what the Braves did. Is they're playing well. They're 4 games over 500, but they decided, and then they brought up their top prospect, and he immediately made a splash, getting his first hit in the first game he played, and it's the first home run in the very second home game he played. So, yeah, that's how it works out there in Atlanta, as they are kind of being that surprise team. They're beating up on some players, but I mean they're beating up on some teams that maybe aren't the best in the league. Obviously, when it comes to the Marlins, even though the Marlins took 2 out of 3 from the Dodgers, God bless them. But no, the Phillies and Atlanta Braves are kind of putting not only the Nationals on notice, but no, the Phillies are sneaking up on the Mets. We'll see if they can sustain it over the whole season, but the Phillies, I think they can. They have the young pitching to be able to do it. They got the young players. I mean, obviously they get Aaron Nola. I mean, I know the pitchers, Aaron Nola and Nick Pivetta, both doing well. But I mean, the Phillies and the Angels, I believe the Phillies and the Braves will be playing each other coming up this weekend, starting today. We're going to go over they're going to start a series. It'll be Aaron Nola and Julio Teheran pitching today, but we're gonna hold that off for the final segment, as we're just talking about some stuff here regarding the beasts in the East out here. Some of maybe the people that didn't think we're going to be the beasts in the East. The Nationals definitely not showing. They showed out on Wednesday as they avoided being swept by the Giants in San Francisco. They came out and put their bats to work, but they're still 4 games under 500 at 10 and 14, down in 4th place in the NL East. Make that 11 and 14 as they sit in 3rd place down in the NL East. So yeah, got some work to do there, as they have 3 teams ahead of them, all well over 500, and 2 of them are young and definitely sparky and have some serious talent up and down their lineup. All right, looking at this other storylines, we got some big stuff going on this weekend. I know we're going to highlight the games, but I could just highlight some stuff happening. Like I said, the Braves and Phillies will be going at it this weekend. We're going to have a Giants-Dodgers series coming out this weekend, as they will renew that rivalry yet again. There'll be a 4-game series because, I mean, the still big thing, the Giants and Dodgers are playing 10 times to begin the season. And, they played now 6 times. They're dead even, I believe. Right? For a 3-3, is that how it is? Because I know the Giants, they split the first series in Los Angeles. Yeah, because it's 3-3. Because that's how they've only played 6 games. So there's a 4-game series to start. Split that. They only played 2 games in San Francisco the last time, and they split those as well. So they're even Stevens right now, and they're going to be playing 4 more this weekend. A doubleheader tomorrow. We'll be talking about both those games. We're going to have a Johnny Cueto start as he looks to improve his league-leading ERA even better, as Johnny Cueto is sitting right now at a .35 ERA, well in front of everybody else in that in that all of Major League Baseball, I believe. Yeah. So I think, is anybody even underneath 1? Nope. Cueto's got a .35 ERA. Next best is Yarlin Garcia at even 1.00 ERA. So yeah, nobody in Major League Baseball has a sub ERA. And Cueto, I mean, he's only missed 1 start. He's had 4 starts, 2-0. It's 26 innings pitched. I mean, that's darn good right there. 23 strikeouts with a .65 whip. And for those who don't know, whip is walks and hits per innings pitched. Hopefully you do know that, listening to a baseball podcast, but just to let you guys know, there's lots of different things. I did my whole rants on how crazy BABIP is sometimes. BABIP, batting average on balls in play. What if you hit like 5 line drives? And that's basically the luck. That's basically the lucky stat. That tells you how lucky or unlucky you are. Like Nick Hundley, just an example of a player out here. His BABIP probably wasn't very good. Doesn't mean that's because he's unlucky. He's hitting balls at people, or players or teams are making some crazy plays against him. So just an example there thrown out. There could be anybody across the league that could be happening to, but just an example. All right. As we come to the end of this segment, next segment we're going to go over some more stuff. We're probably going to shift over to the American League and talk about some stuff going on out east. Yankees are finally started to roll. They've won 6 in a row. They're sitting at 15-9 right now. Still 4 games back of the Red Sox, who have now come right to the ship just a bit after losing 3 in a row. They've come back and won 2 in a row after winning that series up north in Toronto, getting that series, however you want to say it. They righted the ship there, and so we're going to be talking about all that stuff when we come back in just a moment.
Tired of searching the vast jungle of podcasts? Now listen close and hear this out. There's a podcast network that covers just about everything that you've been searching. Hey! The Golden State Media Concepts Podcast Network is here. Nothing less than a podcast bliss with endless hours of podcast coverage. From news, sports, music, fashion, cooking, entertainment, fantasy, football, and so much more. So stop lurking around and go straight out to the Golden State Media Concepts Podcast Network. Guaranteed to fill that podcast itch. Whatever it may be. Visit us at www.gsmcpodcast.com. Follow us on Facebook and Twitter, and download us on iTunes, SoundCloud, and Google Play.
All right, welcome back. This is segment number 3 here, GSMC Baseball Podcast, as we were going over some of the top storylines in baseball. I know, just a little injury update. I know Chris Bryant took a pitch to the head. It was kind of interesting. If you watch the highlight of the pitch, it was definitely scary as he came out of the game immediately. Went up and kind of brushed across. I mean, it was up almost to his forehead, at the front of his head, as he just kind of strode right into it. But he's out of the lineup again on Friday, so he's missing his 4th straight game fourth straight start for the Cubs, as he came out after taking a pitch to the helmet in a game against the Rockies over the weekend. So, looking at that highlight, the ball just kind of went up and got him. It went right under the brim of the helmet, and he came out of the game quite quickly, as he whether he took it right in the forehead or kind of glanced off of the side of his face. I mean, still scary stuff for a young, talented third baseman who has already had success in this game, getting a World Series win with the Cubs in 2016. Kind of one of the guys mainstays for the Cubs to turn over their franchise. So, got to be careful there. All right. So this weekend we're gonna have some big stuff going on. Obviously, we have Yankees Angels is gonna be pretty cool. Mike Trout, Aaron Judge, and Carlos Stanton all playing down the same field. And like I said, don't sleep on Didi Gregorius. 9 home runs. Where's that ranking in the league? I believe he's second, right behind Mike Trout. Obviously, you got that Ozzie Abilis guy, and for the Braves, who's surprised everybody with 8 home runs. Mookie's at 8. Also at 8, there's like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 guys all at 8 home runs stacked up there. Bryce Harper is one of them. Charlie Blackmon, Manny Machado, Mitch Haniger from the Mariners showing out pretty well. So you got a bunch of guys all up there with 8 home runs. We got 1 at 9. Didi and Trout obviously first to double digits with 10 leading the league. Also want to talk about some stuff when you look at the league leaders in batting average. Just really quick, as we're talking about the Stars and playing out in Hollywood this week, but talking about some guys who are not your biggest star, not known as your biggest stars. I mean, if you look at the league leaders in batting average, the most notable name is Manny Machado, and he's down at 5th, hitting .347. Nico Arenado is right beneath him at 6th, and Carlos Correa at 7th at .241. But other than that, you got Tommy Pham leading the league in hitting at .368. Didi Gregorius, as he continues to mash the ball. I mean, not only second in home runs, but second in average at 357, or I can't read. It's 354. Get it right, Tom. Malcolm Smith for the Rays at 353. Jed Lowry for the Athletics at 352. So you got to like that. Seeing some different names up there at the top of the leaderboards for hitting. I mean, other than that, I mean, Correa, then even Aaron Judge is at 337 right now. Reese Hoskins at 338. You got to like that if you're a Phillies fan. You got two guys with Odubel Herrera is also up there at 341. So lots of guys, lots of new faces up there as we see. We're going to take a look at these, give you a little update on the RBI leaders. Didi Gregorius is leading the league in RBIs with 29. Javier Baez and Mitch Haniger are both tied at 2 with 24, along with Jed Lowry. Don't want to forget about Jed Lowry. He also has 24. Yoenis Cespedes at 23. Chris Davis also for the Athletics, another A's slugger at 23. Gary Sanchez at 21, and he's at 7th. Carlos Correa and Bryce Harper both have 19, along with Reese Hoskins at 19, and Trevor Story. And that's kind of round out the top 10 pretty much there. So there's a bunch of guys who are tied. So the next step will be Francisco Cervelli at 18. He's tied with a bunch of different guys. So I'm not going to list off all their names. It's be 10 different guys at 18 RBIs. As we're at just finishing up the first month of the season. Remember, the season did start a bit early this year. We started in March, the end of March, so we're getting close to pretty much 31 days of the season getting going here at the final weekend of April, and some cool series I'm going to highlight in the next segment, as we're just talking here in this third segment, kind of my open segment, about we're going over some new stuff that's happening. I did want to update you on the injuries and stuff that's going on as well. So also going on, but more about the Yankees and Angels. Shohei Ohtani is going to be having his first start against he's not going to pitch. Remember, he's pitching now on Tuesday, so he's going to be pitching. He's going to be playing against the Yankees for the first time, though, on the big stage there at home in Anaheim. And of course, the game will be, I think Sunday. Yeah, Sunday's going to be on Sunday Night Baseball. Sunday game will be on ESPN. I could bet you right now, I can even double check for you, everybody. But you want to be on the nationally televised game, of course, on Sunday. Let's see here. It's going to be the starters for, it's going to be CC Sabathia against Tyler Skaggs. Yep, it's 5:07 Pacific time start. That means Sunday Night Baseball. I can just tell you that right there. Easy peasy. But yeah, these two teams both playing pretty well. Both playing really well. But yeah, no, then we also have some more storylines. We have who's that? What's his name? Sean Manaea, of course. Sean Manaea is going to be going again. He's making his first start since the no-hitter. Of course, whenever we have a guy throw a no-hitter, we think of Johnny Vandermeer, who was the first and only player to throw 2 no-hitters in consecutive starts. So we'll be seeing if Sean Manaea can pull off a Johnny Vandermeer. But, of course, it's going to be tough, as he's going to be going up against the Houston Astros tonight at Minute Maid Park. We'll see how long his bid lasts out there in Houston. All right. D-backs are going to be going into D.C. to face the Nationals. Big start big test there for the Nationals as they come off a series loss after dropping the first 2 games in San Francisco. They're going to fly all the way home after a day off yesterday and play face off against the Diamondbacks. So good luck there. I mean, Diamondbacks are rolling, man. They've been rolling since the beginning of the year. So got to get that going. Got to get that going here. All right. So actually, here at the end of the first segment, this segment here, I kind of want to go over. I mean, we had the NFL draft. I know I do a couple of football shows for those who don't know. If you are football fans as well, tune in to the GSMC Football Podcast on Monday, Wednesdays, and Fridays. I do a college football edition right now. I've been kind of going over the whole draft stuff going on with the NFL draft. I also do a fantasy football show on Tuesdays and Thursdays. So tune into those as well if you like football. But I want to talk about the MLB draft a little bit. That's coming up pretty soon here too. Usually a little bit more of the unknown when it comes to the MLB draft. We don't really know who these guys are. A lot of guys get drafted out of high school. A lot of guys we see maybe in college a little bit, but then we don't really see them on the big stage until the College World Series, in which either were just drafted or are going to be drafted. Were drafted a little bit before. I remember the biggest name recently was Dansby Swanson. Obviously, he was picked early by the Diamondbacks, but then he was traded pretty quickly to the Braves. That was definitely the Braves fleecing the Diamondbacks right there with picks with a trade, but I think the Diamondbacks were trying to get into a win now mode, so they sent Dansby Swanson over to Atlanta for the who they even trade him for. I'm trying to look up who they picked. Yeah, Diamondbacks selected him first round pick. He got traded. Oh yeah, Shelby Miller. That was the Shelby Miller trade that ended up being pretty cruddy for Arizona. Shelby Miller did not pitch very well, and he's still. I think he's still working on an injury right now. I haven't seen him. He hasn't played much at all. So yeah, he had to get Tommy John surgery, ending his season last year. So he won't be back until the maybe middle of this season, if not. Yeah, as he goes through the middle of the season. I think he said, he announced on April 29th of last year that he have Tommy John surgery, so that means he should be back pretty soon, but those things usually last a year plus. I can give you a prognosis on where they're thinking about him coming back when it comes to Shelby Miller. But yeah, just talking about this, see how I go on little tangents here. But, Dansby Swanson was a guy who the Diamondbacks liked out of Vanderbilt, had a very nice College World Series, obviously a great career in college. But, there's really nothing going on with Shelby Miller as he's still recovering from that Tommy John surgery for the Diamondbacks, as he's the guy. He was the big trading piece that got Dansby Swanson over to the Braves. Another guy, obviously, the only guy I can really remember other than when it comes to first picks overall, Carlos Correa. I mean, talk about a pick right there. Already a World Series champion. Already a prototypical MVP guy that you're going to see. I mean, his buddy Jose Altuve's double playmate won the MVP last year, but I mean, you could see Carlos Correa winning it a few times in the near future, and then continuing on through his career. I mean, this guy's in his early 20s, can play baseball, plays the heck out of a shortstop, can hit the ball a mile, and definitely a guy out of the Academy of Baseball in Puerto Rico. I remember him being picked back. I think he got picked back in 2012 or 2013 and 2012, back with the first overall selection. So. Yeah, you gotta like that if you're an Astros fan. When you found out that you're gonna pick him, you're like, who's Carlos Correa? Oh, well, he's your World Series winning shortstop. As you can see, I mean, he's a product of how tanking can kind of work for the Astros. They stacked up on those number one picks. They picked first a bunch of times. Carlos Correa probably being the best of them, but you gotta like that if you are an Astros fan. How that kind of turned out versus, I mean, you also got Mark Appel, who's actually. It was traded. He was picked first overall, I think, as well. Yeah, he was the first pick of the Astros.
but they actually ended up trading him to the Phillies due to some arm issues, and he's no longer. He actually came out and said that he was stepping away from baseball. He's no longer playing. So due to he's had some serious injury issues, but he was a top pitcher coming out of Stanford. This guy, one of the guys I remember being a top pick. Talk about the dichotomy of a first pick, though, in baseball. One guy, Carlos Correa, leads you to the promised land. One guy, and Carlos, they are back-to-back first picks. And not so much with Mark Appel. I mean, Bryce Harper was the first pick. Nationals, they were pretty cruddy for a while too. I mean, they got their 2 first picks was Steven Strasburg and Bryce Harper. Look at that. Look how that worked out for them right there. So you gotta like that if you're Nationals fans. Still waiting for that to get past that NLDS. Looking to wait to get those NLCS sweatshirts. Have to wait for that. Maybe this year would be the chance they have, but not so much as they have started off the season pretty not on a high note. They have some work to do, but long season ahead of them. They could definitely have time to get that going. So when it comes to first picks in the draft, I mean, I think last year's first pick in the draft was let's see, was it somebody that we actually think is going to play? Let's check. 2017 MLB draft. First selection was Royce Lewis for the Minnesota Twins. That's right. I mean, he is sitting in there. Let's think about baseball and difference between basketball and football. You might not see this guy for 3 years. I mean, the Carlos Correa, I think he made his debut in probably 2014, 2015. He was drafted in 2012. I mean, he's looking at him. He's a all-star, perennial all-star shortstop, might win a couple MVPs, and he even had to pay his dues in minor league baseball. I mean, Bryce Harper may be the only guy who had only a few years of minor league baseball experience. I mean, I think he played maybe a half season before getting called up. I've only heard of one guy who played I think he had 2 starts in Major League in minor leagues before getting called up, and that was Mike Leake out of Arizona State. But baseball, there's a lot more opportunity to grow, play in those minor leagues. I mean, there's no minor league in NFL. Obviously, you go college, boom, college is the minor league, and the MLB and NBA, you have the G League now. So that's stuff that you have to think about, yeah. And I'm looking at all the first round selections from last year. Nobody is in the league. Nobody. And I mean, maybe even 2016. Oh, let's see, 2016. Anybody? Nope. Not that I can see, or nobody's jumping off the page. Might be a couple. That's why they have these prospect lists. This is so different in baseball. You don't really see anybody get up there. But I mean, there's drafts though. You want to talk about a draft really quick as we're going to end this segment. Look at the 2005 MLB draft. This is probably the best draft in recent history. Justin Upton was the first pick overall. Alex Gordon, number 2. Brian Zimmerman for the Nationals, number 4. Ryan Braun, number 5. Ricky Romero, number 6 to the Blue Jays. Troy Tulowitzki to the Rockies. 11th, or Cameron maybe went 10th to the Tigers. 11th was Mitch Cutchin. Jay Bruce to the Reds. Jacoby Ellsbury, 23rd to the Red Sox. Matt Garza to the Twins, 25th. Colby Rasmus, 28th to the Cardinals. I mean, lots of talent in that draft. That's probably one of the best drafts ever. All those first guys I was listening off are all stars. And then McCutcheon and Bruce in the middle of that draft. But yeah, no, that was let's talk about an MLB draft right there. That was a good one. So, I mean, even the 2016 draft, even the 2006 draft was a good one too. Evan Longoria, Andrew Miller, Clayton Kershaw, Tim Lincecum, Max Scherzer pitching. So, yeah, I mean, you got guys, Cy Young Award. I mean, look at that. Let's talk about the Cy Young Award winner draft. You got Clayton Kershaw, Tim Lincecum, and Max Scherzer. Boom, boom, boom. 2 of them have won 3, and then Tim Lincecum has won 2 Cy Youngs. As I am racing through this segment as I now run over time, and I'm going to come back and do a quick little last segment. Actually, it's fine because we're just going to run over some preview, some games for the weekend, and we'll talk about that when we get back after these messages. So we'll be right back.
Want to know the latest in soccer? Then listen to the Golden State Media Concepts Soccer Podcast. From MLS, the World Cup, and the Premier League, we've got you covered. The latest updates, the hottest matches, and news on the league's top players. It's the Golden State Media Concepts Soccer Podcast.
David Beckham scores the goal to take England all the way to the World Cup finals.
Listen now.
All right, welcome back. Final segment of today's show, the GSMC Baseball Podcast on a Friday. As we lead in to this weekend, we got some great weekend series coming up in Major League Baseball. We're going to highlight some pitching matchups over the weekend as we come in here for this final segment. Obviously, I said the Yankees and the Angels are pacing off this weekend. We got Giants, Dodgers this weekend. We got Cubs, Brewers this weekend. Arizona is in the nation's capital, playing the Nationals to be exact, and then A's and Astros going on in Houston as well. So we got a lot of good stuff to talk about as we come on. Also, Cardinals and Pirates are playing as well. Cardinals are actually they're actually looking pretty good. They're 15-9 right now. Not bad. Okay, first matchup to talk about is tonight's matchup actually in Houston. Sean Manaea against Dallas Keuchel. Manaea looking to repeat, baby, be the next Johnny Vandermeer. It's gonna be pretty tough. I mean, look who he no-hit in the last game. He no-hit the Red Sox, but I'm not feeling it as he's going to be going against the even tougher Houston Astros lineup. And usually when you do back-to-back tough lineups like that, I'm not saying he's going to get touched up, but I would not be surprised if he has kind of a stinker start after his no-hitter. In New York, I'll make that against the Yankees in New York, the New York Yankees against them. It's going to be in Anaheim. In Anaheim, Luis Severino against Andrew Heaney. Andrew Heaney got touched up a little bit by the Giants in his last start. He's looking to right the ship there. Severino looking to roll right along where he's doing. He's 4-1 with a 2.3 ERA. Looking mighty good for the Yankees over this short, young season here. On Friday, for the first game of that big series out in San Francisco, will be Hyun-Jin Ryu against Derek Holland. Holland looking for his first win of the season. Ryu looking to roll right along as he's 3-0. That'd be the 3-0 with a 1.99 ERA. That's something you usually see with Kershaw, but Kershaw is 1-4, still a sub-3 ERA, but yeah, he's not pitching. He's not getting that much love right now when it comes to. I mean, wins are not really the best. Not really the best thing to look at when it comes to things to look at when it comes to pitching performances. But I mean, he's 1-4, but it's sub-3 ERA, which means he just hasn't got much run support. Kind of a tough luck loser right now. Brewers and Cardinals, or break that. Brewers and Cubs in Chicago. It'll be Yu Darvish looking for his first win in a Cubs uniform. Still not pitching, hasn't pitched that well. Hasn't been able to get to the fifth inning in 3 of 4 starts. So I mean, he's at a 6.86 ERA. He'll be going against Brent Suter, left-hander for the Brewers. All right, out in Arizona, or make that. I keep getting the city wrong. Out in the nation's capital, Arizona versus the Nationals. It'll be Zach Galli against Steven Strasburg. That's going to be the matchup of the day, I think, actually. And especially in the National League, Zach Galli's really good. And I think he's going to carve up that Washington Nationals lineup with that curveball. He's got a really good one. As he's 3-1 with a 3.09 ERA, 24 strikeouts. Strasburg 2-2 with a 2.97 ERA, still keeping it nicely under 3, and 3 strikeouts. So I mean, he's got that dominant fastball, and he can continue with the double-digit strikeouts that he's been going on. All right, that's pretty much it. I mean, Jacob DeGrom is pitching for the Mets in San Diego. I don't want to let you guys know that he's pitching tonight against the Padres. Clayton Richard going for the Padres out there, and Marcus Stroman is going to be pitching in Toronto against Texas. He's looking for his first start. I mean, looking to also lower that ERA. He's had a pretty terrible
dismal start to the season. Also, Corey Kluber will be going for the Indians out in Cleveland as they start a weekend series against the Mariners. All right. On to Saturday. Big starts on Saturday. I know Giants and Dodgers are going to be having a doubleheader. Dodgers have not announced that starter for the first game, but it is probably going to be Walker Buehler. He did have a start last time. He's a hard-throwing pitcher there, young pitcher for the Dodgers there. Got a nice fastball and be going against the Giants, and got some good stuff there against Chris Stratton, who's actually looking like the Giants, along with obviously Johnny Cueto, whose Giants have gotten some nice starting pitching to start off the season, but you need to figure out that hitting. They are 11-13, so they're sitting close to 300 or 500 right now. 300, close to 500 right now, as they're still awaiting that return of Madison Bumgarner. They did get Jefferson Marja back, but he got, after one good start, he got roughed up a little bit on Wednesday against the Nationals. Then the second game, the nightcap of that doubleheader, will be Alex Wood against Johnny Cueto, who's looking to continue his success. He is 2-0 after he's 2-0 decisions, 2 wins, but his ERA is very, very cool 0.03 ERA right there, as he's yet to allow more than a run in any of his starts. All right. David Price is going for the Red Sox at home against Tampa Bay. He'll be pitching against Chirinos of the Rays as the Red Sox against the lowly Rays. So, and then also we have Carlos Carrasco going against Mike Leake in Seattle against the Mariners in Cleveland. Carlos Carrasco is still looking for his first loss, which you don't want. He's 4-0 with a 2.31 ERA. Carlos Carrasco looking like the top starter for the Indians. Obviously, they got Corey Kluber as well. Lance McCullers going against the A's in Houston. Like Lance McCullers, always been a fan of him. And we're going to have Nick Pivetta against Michael Voltunevich as the Phillies and Braves continue their series over the weekend. I forgot, I did mention them earlier. I think in the last segment I went over the fact that they're having a series this weekend. I mean, tonight I think tonight's going to be Aaron Nola against Julio Teheran. So just let you guys know that. I did mention that earlier in the show. Out in Anaheim, it's going to be Masahiro Tanaka against Garrett Richards. Garrett Richards had a very nice start in his previous outing against the Giants. The curveball and the slider was moving extremely well. He was absolutely nasty in that game against San Francisco. So he's looking to keep that rolling against the Yankees. Tough Yankee lineup. That'll be a good series out there in Anaheim. Looking forward to talking about that one on Monday. All right, Bartolo Colon will be pitching. Just a public service announcement. Bartolo Colon is pitching tomorrow against the Toronto Blue Jays and in Toronto against Jaime Garcia, the left-hander for the Blue Jays. So Bartolo Colon still looking for his first decision of the year. He's yet to get a decision. He's got a 2.59 ERA, but I mean he has yet to get a decision at all. He's sitting at the 0-0. That's what it means. And then Patrick Corbin looking to roll right along, looking for his 5th win already of the year. He's 4-0 with a 1.89 ERA. He'll be going against Jeremy Hellickson of the Nationals out there in D.C. And we'll move on to Saturday, or Sunday, that is. Sunday. The final Sunday of April. NSF, it'll be tie block against Kenta Maeda. Giants not facing Kershaw. This is the first time in 12 series against the Dodgers that Clayton Kershaw has not pitched. Has not happened since I don't know. You can count how many years ago that was, but yeah, it's been 12 series between the Giants and Dodgers, home or away, doesn't matter. That the Giants have not faced Clayton Kershaw. They'll miss the start against Kershaw. And then it's a 4-gamer too. And then it'll be Robbie Ray against Gio Gonzalez out in Washington as the Diamondbacks and Nationals will finish up their series. Not everybody has announced their starters. I mean, I know we have Garrett Cole and Trevor Cahill out in Houston going. A's and Astros finish up their series there. The AL West Division tilt. And then in the final game of the series on Sunday Night Baseball, like I said, CeCe Sabathia in Tyler Skaggs' Yankees and Angels out there in Anaheim. Also, Yarlin Garcia, just a little. It's going to be Chad Bettis against Yarlin Garcia out in Miami on Sunday morning, early Sunday morning if you're out here in the West Coast. Yarlin Garcia is still second in the league in ERA as he's 1-0. Chad Bettis 3-0 with a 2.4. So two hot pitchers going right now. Going then on Sunday for the Rockies and the Marlins. All right. That's going to wrap it up for today's show as it kind of just went through a little bit of, a few of the top pitching performances or pitching matchups over the weekend. We went through that was earlier performances. We did that too at the beginning of the show, but earlier, just now we just went over the matchups for today or in Saturday and Sunday. Some pitching performances that are likely going to be memorable. I think we're going to have some good stuff coming this weekend, some good series. I'm already keeping my eye on, obviously, the Giants-Dodgers, that big rivalry, Yankees-Angels, Atlanta and the Phillies, Pirates and the Cardinals. Yeah, they're going to go at it. And then also the A's and the Astros, some division rivalries, also Arizona and Washington. So we have two like cross-country series and about 4 really good division series, so interdivision series against some heated rivals going on here. All right, that'll wrap it up for today's show. We'll be back on Monday. We'll recap this whole weekend of baseball. We'll see if we get a Johnny Vandermeer situation. I kind of doubt it, as Sean and I will go today, like I said, for the A's against the Astros after coming off his no-hitter last weekend. So everybody have a good weekend. Enjoy your baseball. Watch some baseball. If you're a football fan, watch the draft. Listen to my draft show as well. I did this morning, just now. So if you're done with this one, tune into the GSMC football show if you want to hear about my take on the draft, as the second round of the NFL draft will get going here in just a few hours. Or watch some baseball if you're a baseball fan. You don't like the NFL. NFL sucks. Watch some baseball. We always love the baseball here. Yeah. Until then, everybody enjoy their weekend. Like I said, I will be. Have a good time. See you on Monday.
You've been listening to the Golden State Media Concepts Baseball Podcast, part of the Golden State Media Concepts Podcast Network. You can find this show and others like it at www.gsmcpodcast.com. Download our podcast on iTunes, Stitcher, SoundCloud, and Google Play. Just type in GSMC to find all the shows from the Golden State Media Concepts Podcast Network, from movies to music, from sports to entertainment, and even weird news. You can also follow us on Twitter and on Facebook. Thank you, and we hope you have enjoyed today's program.